shot at a time.
Welcome back to the Enjoy the Walk podcast, guys. Into another week here where I think we're going to have some awesome guests coming up, and excited to get into those. But first, we have to talk the new schedule of 2020. We finally got some hope past just the majors. We've actually got a PGA Tour schedule, shortened, condensed, but still a schedule.
Yeah, and it's another good thing because the majors released, the Masters came back. It's around Masters week when that happened, so it kind of brought joy back into everything. And now they're promoting more possible golf with kind of more of a condensed schedule to finish off this crazy summer that we're getting into. I think it's going to be pretty sweet. And when we get into it, from when I was looking at it, a lot of the tournaments were a lot of the more low-key, no-name tournaments.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be kind of cool because all those guys are going to get out there, get back to work, get out there grinding, get their points up, try and win some tournaments, make some money. So they're going to be at these tournaments, and it's going to be cool to see.
Let's dive right into it. Charles Schwab Challenge is going to be the proposed return of golf, competitive golf. Now, while it's not going to have any fans, I can tell you what it is going to have. It's going to have every top 50 player in the world at this event at the Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, the week after that, I think we can kind of package these two into what we're going to talk about. Rbc Heritage is usually the week after the Masters. Usually barely gets much play, It doesn't see a lot of your top names. I think the Rbc Heritage and the Charles Schwab Challenge are going to have unprecedented, top names within their tournaments this year because it makes sense. They have to play almost. They just have to with a condensed schedule like this.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt.
So, it's going to be pretty sweet to hopefully stay on this schedule. They obviously came out and said no fans through the first four tournaments. That takes us through the Travelers and Rocket Mortgage Classic. So, you go Texas, South Carolina, Connecticut, Michigan are your first four tournaments. Takes you right to July 6th, then to the John Deere. Now, normally, the John Deere is the last tournament before the Open. Right? So guys are traveling, getting, your top 50 guys are either playing in the Scottish Open the week before, so they're already over there getting themselves ready for tournament golf at the Open, or they're just, traveling and not playing. So another one of those tournaments that kind of gets overlooked by the top 50, I think is going to see a really, really heavy turnout with guys showing up. And I think before the Memorial, July 13th, one of those tournaments Tiger's going to have to play, I think, if he wants to feel, ready for competitive golf.
Oh, yeah, he'll definitely make a showing.
Now, which one of those five? No clue.
No clue. But probably it's going to be whatever course has the best setup to set him up for success for the Masters.
Oh, I'm also looking here too, and he typically plays in the match play out in Texas. So if I had to guess, he'll come back for that first event in Texas and then won't play again until Jack's tournament at the Memorial. I think is a good, guess of what his schedule will be like.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It seems like, he said, from what I've seen, it seems he's been getting pretty active, kind of letting know what's kind of going on with him in his quarantine ever since kind of he did the Masters with the recap from last year with Jim Nance.
Tiger's taking a little a peek inside the ropes on what personal life is like for Tiger Woods, and we aren't used to seeing that.
No, so it seems like him and his son are out there in the backyard competing almost every day.
There is no doubt Charlie Woods is grinding on the game. When they come out of this
100%.
quarantine, Charlie might just be all of a sudden the number one ranked junior player in the world.
Yeah, listen, for those who have access, and for those even the tour players that have those, are wealthy enough to have those type of practice facilities, a lot of their strongest parts of their game is it's going to, like, if you're like a great driver, like Brooks, like, right, like they bomb it, right, like let's put him in the scenario, and you're kind of, granted, I mean they're probably out on courses and whatnot playing in, but hear me out, hypothetical here. You really don't have much. You kind of have like the Tiger Woods house where you do have this great short game area where you can practice and all that. I mean, you're going to add your strength of just pounding the ball off the tee to saying like, all right, well, I got to stick it close. I'm going to have even more confidence throwing that ball, throwing a dart in there a lot closer than, normal. So it's going to be interesting to see, and you're going to see a lot of these players' games spike in different areas,
Oh,
which
I'm
I'm excited
excited.
to see about.
Yeah,
Which you might even like the shorter hitters, they're probably focusing more on their short game. So they're going to be able to, okay, well, I can't keep it up with the big dogs, but at least I can stick it close.
my
So
dad
it's
and
going
I
to
talked
be,
about this, that there's a very good possibility of guys that we've never heard before coming out of this quarantine and just balling, just downright throwing some sick numbers out there. So it's going to be fun to watch. Not only I know are like the top guys in the world ready and chomping at the bit already, let alone we wait another 2 months till June, but everyone who possibly, is maybe just on the cusp. I'm sure they're still going to do Monday qualifying. So guys that are qualifying into events, they're all around from top to bottom, and everyone in between is just going to be gunning to play golf.
oh
And I think
yeah,
they're going to be playing
it's
some really
just,
good golf.
everybody's just going to be excited. They're actually just going to be grateful that they're out playing again, but they're going to come out firing.
Yeah, I can't
Right,
wait.
right out the gate, they're
And it's
firing.
funny that I hope they are firing, but if they aren't, and Brooks Koepka, I'm glad you brought him up, made a pretty funny remark, but funny but true. When they play these tournaments with no fans, you see so many wayward shots that are even caught on TV, let alone all the wayward shots that are going to be played over the 4 days. Guys are going to lose golf balls.
Yeah,
It's one of the least talked about things on like TV and on tour, but without fans, are they even going to set up the stadium seats? Probably not. That'll be weird to see on TV. And B, they're not going to have backboards behind greens. A, they're not going to have fans knowing where this golf ball goes 24/7. And if they're growing out tour style rough, guys might barely miss a fairway and lose a golf ball for like the first time in a very long time on the PGA Tour.
yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see that you're going to see tournament golf, these pros playing like these tournaments. It's going to be closer to tournament golf that you and I play.
It's gonna
I
be
mean, they're
it's
going to
gonna be
show,
awesome.
yeah. So it's going to kind of bring them back to reality of how they grew up playing tournament golf too. I mean, I played a few tournaments. I mean, it's no different from me trying to, okay, yeah, there's a little bit more pressure, but everything counts. But it's no different from me going out with for a round of my buddies. It's more stressful. So it's going to
These
be,
boys are gonna get a taste of, your Saturday, Sunday kind of Scuttle Cup, just whatever we play on the weekends. They're gonna get a taste of that amateur golf life where we really didn't hit it that bad, but damn it, I can't find it.
yeah. And my dad always says it too. He goes, you hit it into the rough, and say we're playing in a nicer course and the rough, is a little grown out, and we walk up there and can't find the ball, and so like, where the hell is this ball? Or maybe it just might be a little wayward, but to a point where you can find it. And he says, you know what? If I was on tour, I would know where they would find my ball for me. So we'd always throw around, like when we go out. I mean, we're just hacking around. We'll call it the Pga Rule. And if you were on the PGA, that ball would have been found. So just drop it in an area where you think it was, and just continue on. Just
Yeah.
keep it moving. Yeah, I
It's going to be fun to watch. And, one thing I wanted to touch on too, not just the PGA Tour rescheduled things, the Corn Ferry Tour, the Mackenzie Tour, they all rescheduled things as well. The Corn Ferry announced basically like the postponements of a lot of their tournaments that were happening here in early April, like through May. They're going to return down to Ponte Vedra Beach the week of June 8th through the 14th. So that'll be fun to see those guys kind of still be able to duke it out for spots on tour as well. And then the guys on the Mackenzie Tour, up in Canada, they are also still able to have a little bit of their season. Now, with them being in Canada, I think it works a little differently. I'm not 100% sure of what all actions are being taken in Canada with all this virus going around, but they're still able to have their qualifying schedules up in Canada kind of still be played on a modified schedule as well. So, we can't forget about those guys, and it would be a shame to, kind of see the feeder systems get hurt in a time like this, because there's guys that are on the Mackenzie Tour, the Corn Ferry Tour. It's their livelihood we're talking about. And a lot of guys, if they don't make it this year, might not give it a go next year. So it's nice to see those guys still getting a shot at it, even if it is a shortened season.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. It'll also be interesting to see for like on a pro level when you're coming down the stretch and you don't really have the fans to keep the adrenaline going or get the adrenaline moving even more. I mean, imagine like Tiger coming down the stretch and from like his past tournaments, and the crowd's pumping him up, and he's got this long ass putt to make it, and the crowd goes wild, and it's just silent.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be something definitely weird, and I think not only weird for us on TV watching it, because I think they're going to still have cameras out there, but it's going to be weird for the players, man. You make a 35-footer, and you've played on the PGA Tour for 5+ years, expecting, at least 150, 200 plus to go wild after making a 35-footer, and you're going to look around, and it's just going to be like your state am tournament. There's going to be nobody there.
Yeah, as you were like saying that, I was thinking the same thing. It's probably going to have the feel of, just some scratch handicap golfer trying to qualify for the U.S. Open.
Oh, 100%.
I feel that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like U.S. Open qualifiers for, for the amateur, trying to see like, oh, can I make it? Let me see like where my game's actually at. Let's see if I can grind it out there and see if I can go through qualifying and maybe even get the sectionals, and then hopefully, be that lucky one to get called to go and play in the US Open. So it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be interesting, but we just have to continue to, do our due diligence and hope for the best. That
exactly what I was going to say. As optimistic as the schedule is, it's no guarantee. There's so much yet to, I think, be figured out of when things open and when things come back to life. But, the golf world kind of is 50-50 on it. I think the players and a lot of the people that are holding these tournaments are obviously huge advocates for it because, well, yeah, the players want to get back and play, and the tournament sponsors don't want to lose millions of dollars in sponsorships. So they're obviously advocating for it and are pushing pretty hard. And, unfortunately, I think there is a bit of realism that you have to kind of account in there and be like, oh, well, it's optimistic, but how's it going to work? We talked about it off camera a little bit. How are they going to make sure that all the employees that are running the cameras and running the logistics of all of this, stay safe and stay healthy? And these guys traveling from, week to week to week. And these aren't courses that are right up the road. Like, you and I would play. These are in different states at different venues. And, then you're talking different hotel rooms. And there's so much more behind the scenes that goes into it that I feel like has just yet to be figured out. I think, I'm no doctor. We're no scientific podcast. But I think it boils down to testing. I think if by that point in time, there's a good system in place to test all the players and to test everyone involved, I don't know the legitimacy behind it or, how effective it is, but there's been talks of tests that are, a 15-minute test. So I think if something like that's rolled out and easily affordable, not only the PGA, but then I think you'll start to see all sports kind of start to come back in some way, shape, or form, obviously without fans. But I think first and foremost that you just have to know that everybody involved is COVID-free, and then go from there.
Imagine basketball. You just hear the shoes
squeaking of the shoes.
all over. all over the court, and then just if the announcers aren't saying anything.
Just your
Oh
everyday
man.
YMCA pickup game.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. But nah, you're right. I mean, because it's not going to be two players and their caddies on a specific hole. You're gonna have an entire production crew. You're gonna have probably Faraday back there behind us and trying to speak into the mic. I wouldn't be surprised if those rabbit ear tour players hear that even more now that
Oh yeah,
there's
well,
silence
and the
around
thing
them.
the thing too is why I feel like once these guys get an on-course mic for the week, it's theirs. They're not handing it back in at the end of the day, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be interesting, man. There's just so many what ifs and so many and I'm sure things that we haven't even thought about that when you watch a telecast of this without fans or just how weird it's going to be or maybe how not different it'll be. I think if they find a way to maybe do the telecast right and um, you know we've been harsh critics of telecasts in the past of them kind of just not covering enough golf. So with just the players out there, yeah, I would think if not more golf, some sort of better telecast maybe in store. We might get a better viewer, experience. I think more chats between the caddy might be pretty cool to see. Chats between the caddy and the player, chats between player and player. I mean, shit, if it's just the players out there, you can't have much else to talk about. So I think it presents a prime opportunity for the PGA Tour to mic these guys up, whether it's putting
yeah.
a mic on their bag or, I don't think these guys want to actually wear mics all the time, strapped up, but mic somebody up, man, make it fun.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. I mean, we've said it before. Golf broadcasting has kind of fallen off the map. Kind of sucks. I'll be honest. So it'd
Yeah. I
be
mean,
kind of
even the
cool.
most diehard fans, if it's not major week, man, we're falling asleep to it, unfortunately.
Shit. I mean, Bubba even says it. He says golf's boring because I take a nap to it. So
Yeah.
do I.
Yep.
I always end up trying to watch it. Like if they're coming down, I'm like, all right, cool, cool, cool. I'm watching. I've said it before. I'll go out, I'll play my round on the weekend. I'll come home and I'll watch, the remaining Sunday round. And I'm like, okay, I'll, watch this. And by the time it's over, I'll watch the rest of this. And by the time it's over, it'll be dinner time. And then, I'll go on and get ready for my week. But next thing I know, I'm waking up to dinner and I'm sitting there like, shit. I just slept through this entire round and I wanted to watch it. It's like, damn. So no, it'd be cool. It'd be interesting to see what they're working with behind the scenes.
For sure. I'm looking forward to it, man. We talked about it before, and I want competitive golf in some way, shape, or form back on some sort of, uh, wavelength. I want to just be able to watch Tiger make more history. I want to see the young guns prove that they're worthy of being out there. I just want to see good golf, and we're going to get to see more than I think we once expected, because when they first came out with the schedule, it was just majors. And I feel like that's what the golf world thought we were going to get, was just majors in the fall. So to see a kind of revised schedule of at least, I think, 20 tournaments close to it, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
To see June on the radar instead of September is good stuff.
Yeah. And that's good for even just like you and I, because it almost seems to the fact that, we have an optimistic look on, kind of slowly opening stuff just in general. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it would just sucks because I know like you and I are in the Northeast, so we get all 4 seasons, and we were excited for the spring to come into the summer that coming through, and kind of put that on a halt, and we're kind of going through this like, and it'd be nice to skip maybe if we can get back out there, even if it's kind of like restricted openings to allow us to get back out there and playing, to give us maybe a couple months of just like warm weather.
Mm-hmm.
It would just suck to go through this entire thing and just basically skip
Yeah,
2020 summer.
you're right, and I think we're close. We're getting there. You're starting to see just projections all over the board, even out, if not even decrease, in a lot of areas in the country. So I think, guys, we're almost there, and I'm excited to start to see some breaths of fresh air and some optimism I think we got a long way to go yet still, but seeing dates on the calendar be booked for things brings a sense of optimism. And I think they're realistic senses of optimism too. So I'm happy to spread that vibe and that message and hopefully, see that come to fruition here in the next few months.
Yeah, agreed.
So, yeah, man, excited to get into our first interview of the week here. We brought some bombers or a bomber, I should say, into the mix this week. A long driver that's been pretty new to the scene here since 2017, has just been an absolute advocate for the long drive scene. He's been an absolute grinder too. Not one of the biggest guys you'll see out there. So we kind of just, get into how he makes it all work and excited to hear his story and why he got into the game and why he's such an advocate for the game of golf today. So excited to have Jacob Golliday on the show next. Goes by the Jesus of golf, and I think he'll tell you why. So excited to get into that, guys. Welcome back to the Enjoy the Walk podcast, guys. Bringing you a new week of what we think are some pretty top-tier guests within the industry, and excited to get into that. Dante, you broke quarantine today. You got out in the real world. You saw something outside of your home. Tell us about that experience, man. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I haven't left the neighborhood in about 6 weeks. Decided to finally get out of the house, go get fill up my car with gas. Honestly, it was a little weird, but it didn't really seem no different. I mean, cars were still on the roads. People are still out and about, still doing what they got to do, making trips and whatnot. It was just the only weird thing was that the Wawa actual store was closed. So that was a little eerie because there's cars here. This place is usually a zoo. And all the cars were they're usually surrounding the storefront. No cars there. It was just, you just pull up, which is nice too, because I know a lot of people are a little weary and a little freaking out about touching, gas pumps and all that, because different hands, different germs spreading and whatnot. Jersey, luckily they pump your gas for you, so I just rolled up. Luckily I had cash on me. I was like $20, fill it up. He goes, okay, in, out, boom, gone. Back to my house, haven't left since.
Yeah, remember those days when, the entire world shit on Jersey because, oh, you guys don't know how to pump your gas. It's a full 180 now.
Yeah. Now they're like, dang, man, I wish I was in Jersey right now to get gas. Yeah, that's right. Joke's on you, man. Busting my stones out because I don't know how to pump gas. Hey,
now
sir,
you got the world by
me.
the balls. Yeah.
Fill it up for me, please. But yeah,
luxury items.
It is, but it's they all got gloves on, mask on, just trying to be precautionary, make sure they're doing the right things. So, but I mean, just another day, and that's pretty much that was my adventure.
Love it. Love to hear it's the little things these days that keeps us going, man. The little adventures outside the house, and I mean, there are some parts of the country that do still have golf going on, and we're bringing on a guy that lives in one of those areas. He's been able to kind of get out and play. We've seen it all over Instagram. Kind of people flocking down towards the Pinehurst, North Carolina area. But the guy we have on coming on next, a long driver that just has, kind of burst onto the scene here in the last year or two. And he's got some flow. Let's just put it lightly. He's got some flow, and you might know him on Instagram, the Golf Jesus. So excited to bring on Jacob today and just chat everything golf and what's going on in the world right now. So Jacob, happy to have you on, man.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? That's a story to tell how that name got established too.
I'll tell you what, let's jump right into it, man, because I gotta know, where did that come from?
Oh, yeah. All right. So let's see, how can we keep it PG? So we were down. This was probably like right when I got in the long drive, post 2017 World Championships. Went to a qualifier, did pretty well. Kind of, let's see, went to it. It was in Catawba. Went with a buddy. We were kind of like, all right, what's going on? Wasn't playing well in amateur golf, so I was like, all right, let's kind of let's see what else is out there. I was like, all right, let me use your driver, buddy. So we went out, he signed up, watched him go 0 for 8. One of those moments I was like, oh man, we can't leave. All right, let me go sign up. Signed up, kind of got through the, local, got to the regional, kind of won it, got to world championships, went through the first round, it's round of 32 and ended up losing Justin James. And I was like, all right, he was the world champion that year. I was like, all right, I guess that's the only guy I lost to. I can, keep it going. So we were, going down to Mexico for this little Team USA versus Canada. Kenya came, it was 3-4 countries were down there, little international team event. A couple of new guys, Bobby Peterson puts it on. He's kind of one of the OGs of the long drive thing. You always see him with the One Stop Power Shop crew, but they kind of took us down there. So a couple of the new guys, me, Wes Patterson, Anthony Thomas, we were all pretty new to it. We're down there. And then Ken Long, but we ended up, one of the nights, one of the nights we were eating dinner and, we were probably, it was us and Ken Long's dad, 5 of us. And, within an hour, there's 3 bottles of wine gone. And within, 2 hours, there's 5 and then 6, next thing you know, we're 8 or 9 deep and we're in Mexico, we're having a great time. And all of a sudden, Anthony Thomas, he's a little model dude. He's like, all right, you got to learn how to market yourself, man. Everyone down here is calling you Jesus. You can't turn around without, everyone down here, literally going Jesus, Jesus. He's like, you got to change your name. So next thing I wake up that morning, not knowing what I did, it kind of, oh, well, Jesus to golf. I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm too stubborn to change it back. And then, since then in 2017, kind of played off it, obviously. With
so thank the wine
hair.
and some good times with some fellow long drivers to that credit.
Basically how it started. Yeah.
I'm assuming you had the flow at the time too, right?
Yeah. The flow was pretty much halfway, probably halfway down the back. It's almost all the way down the back now. I haven't cut it almost a year and a half. So props to Kyle Berkshire for following my lead. I'll give it to him on that. He saw
you
it.
Started the trend
and had to have it.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at 17, he finished top 4 and I was top 32 and he makes a lot more TV than me, but I definitely had the locks then.
I love that.
Well, if you don't mind, you can send some my way.
Yeah, whenever I cut it off, I'll get you a wig.
All right.
That's beautiful, guys. Look out for that. Dante's wigs coming in the mail soon. If quarantine drives Jake a little crazy, he might shave at least half of it off for Dante to spare some.
I could cut half of it off, and most people want to notice. It'll still be probably halfway down my back right now, so it'll be okay.
I mean,
it's definitely epic. I'll give you that. There's some well-earned flow back there. There's no doubt about it.
That's me in college.
That's all right. Oh man, if you look, me in college with the buzzed hair with no facial hair. So
I had the flow; it just disappeared.
So
flip flop.
I love that.
Flip-flop.
Now, for the people listening on podcasts, Dante showed a beautiful picture of himself, which you can see on YouTube, and I might even post that. We might have to go Throwback Thursday for on a Monday, just to show the folks what Dante Flow used to have before he went bald.
Yeah.
But, so walk us through the early days. You said you weren't playing that great of amateur golf, and that got you into long drive because you were exploring other options. When did you first get into golf? What got you into swinging the club day to day?
Well, the mom for sure. She played at Minnesota, so she was one of the female golfers in Minnesota when Tom Lehman was there. So she kind of, was successful in that, ended up being tournament director here in Pinehurst. So it kind of shows our relationship here. That why we, because I've been coming here as a little kid, would get away from the beach once I wasn't playing baseball, probably for a week or two of summer. So I'll come up here for a camp and have some fun in Pinehurst and kind of play. So I was introduced to the game at a young age and always had a pretty good swing. And then baseball, took over and kind of stayed pretty consistent until I was 23, 24. And then once that ended, it was kind of all right, let's see what happens. Was playing with a buddy, Reed Hennigan. And I remember the first time I played golf and I don't know, a couple years and just coming off shoulder surgery. First drive was 320. He's like, dude, you hit it far. I was like, nah, dude, you're crazy, bro. I mean, this was a couple months off shoulder surgery. I'm I'm just bunting it. This isn't everyone does this. And I think I shot a couple under par or something. He's like, dude, you got to pursue this. And I was like, dude, you're nuts. Like, I was like, I know what it takes. Like, I'm nowhere even close, still nowhere even close. But, I've had some fun with it and, had a little success. But, that was 2014 post-college baseball. And so then moved to California, worked at a ski resort, put the clubs up for a whole year, had some fun up there, kind of took my little hiatus to the California lifestyle, like some of us doing life. So I had fun with that, and then ended up getting my club shipped back out there at the end, which was like 16-ish. Got the club shipped back out and was like, all right, let's kind of pursue this again. And was hitting balls out there, and everyone was like, dude, you hit it far. I was like, all right, if I've heard it on the East Coast and West Coast, I guess I can at least try to play golf.
They might know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, all right, and I was like, and Pinehurst is a good area to do it. So I kind of came back here in 16-ish and been kind of off and on in Pinehurst and then in the Outer Banks and spent some time in Florida last year. But kind of came back and pursued the amateur things for a year. Was pretty close in the U.S. US Mid-Am qualifiers. Was right on the edge, a couple strokes away or a stroke away. Southern Am, all these big ones, and never made anything. But was on the cusp or shoot under par. Would be the chance and blow it. And I was like, all right, did that for about a year, and then I was like, all right, let's just go have fun with the long drive qualifier, and then did that, and then since then kind of off and on in golf and long drive. But last year was pretty much all long drive, and this year is going to until they canceled our season. So
this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's pretty neat too, because you hear a lot of people. We even had, within our own show, Isaiah, who usually joins us, he kind of took a hiatus too, from the game. And whether, you're playing it all the time as a junior and then, get through college and then just kind of get burnt out, or even yourself, where you play baseball and golf and then just kind of juggle both. It's really cool to hear the people that get back into it, age 25, 26, and take it seriously and really pursue it, because most of the kids these days, especially professional level, all you hear about is the brilliant junior phenom that they are, and that they've come up through AJGA and then college and then, just dominated. And you don't hear much anymore of like the guys. And even Arnold Palmer was a great example of this. He went and served in the Army and did his time and then came back out and at like 25, 26 and started his career a little later.
Yeah.
And you don't hear too many like stories like that. So it's cool to see you not in the competitive sense, but on the long drive side of things, really making some noise and pursuing a sort of career in the game later in life.
Yeah. I've gotten through a couple pre-qualifiers, just some Mondays though. So, I have a little game in me. I'm definitely one of the few since I've started long drive that has competed in, professional golf events and long drive events, during the same year or same month. I would like to say I'm the only one that's done it since I started long drive. There's probably a couple that would vouch for it, but I feel like the ones that could, they've definitely pursued long drive a little bit more than me. Because my ultimate goal is to make it in golf. So, the two are different, but I think because of long drive, I've learned so much about the golf swing and learned how to hit it far and straight. And you can see DeChambeau now. What does he want to do? He wants to put up 200-mile-an-hour ball speeds and hit it straight. And I was talking to my buddies that this group chat that we have, a couple of these golfers that we have a group with, and I'm like, you guys are like, you don't understand. Like, it literally, if Tiger Woods 2005, like PGA golf, right? Greatest game of all time. You're bombing at 340, 350. Like, that's literally what it feels like playing golf. That's why it's fun for, me and some of these long drivers that hit it straight. It's like literally like playing Tiger Woods. He can't putt. So it's like playing with the guy in the beginning that just bombs it. Your stats aren't up for putting and chipping yet, but, still, you can shoot a couple under par. You just tear it. Golf courses are just different. So you can see Cameron Champ and now DeChambeau, and everyone wants to hit it far and straight. So
yeah, and I think you made a good point back there too, a little bit of just talking about like doing both, because you see guys that pursued long drive full time or did competitive golf full time and did either one or the other. The number one name that I can think of is Jamie Sedlowski, who did it full time, in the long drive, but then went to like the web.com and said, all right, I'm giving up long drive to focus on the game of golf. talk us through a little bit of that, of like playing both. Like, what tournaments were you able to play during pursuing long drive, and like how do they really differ? I mean, I know you said you're still figuring out how to truly putt on tournament greens, but how do they really differ of just kind of breaking them apart?
I mean, long drive, it's easy. You only have to hit 1 out of 8 in the grid, now 1 out of 6, and it's just different. It's very adrenaline induced. You're all about, let's just hit it as far as we can. It's all about optimizing only one club. It's a very short term kind of, and you're out there, we do it in groupings, it takes about an hour, but still it's only taking an hour. And out of that hour, we're competing 10, 15 minutes, and it's just hitting one club. So it's a very simplified. It's not easy by any means, because not many people can swing it that hard, and not many people hit it that straight when they swing it that hard. So, but it's definitely like it's more of a simplified process than golf, for sure, right? I mean, golf, when you get out there, now we've taken all these other aspects where if we hit 1 out of play, we have to now like drop and count extra strokes. That doesn't happen at long drive. It's not even close like that. And then it's just like we have to make a 6-inch putt. Well, usually we're hitting balls within 8 to 12 inches of each other. It doesn't even matter with the driver. But now you're saying like we have to go up and finish it. Like, that would make it a totally different game. I would love to all right, let's go first one to 500 yards, and you have to use your putter afterwards. I would win. I'm telling you, I would win.
I love that. And
it's
crazy
a little game.
It's crazy to think about, because you see some of those guys. I mean, another guy that just comes to mind, he never did long drive, but he just absolutely bombs the ball, is like Brandon Matthews. And
oh yeah,
he just murders the ball.
He could easily do long drive though.
Yeah, and it's
he
crazy
could be a
to think,
top 30 guy.
When you watch guys on tour, there's so many guys that you think, man, if you just put a long driver in their hands and just let them wail on 7 or 8. Now, granted, it probably take them a couple rounds to get the timing right, because it's a completely different club. But
you give them a couple.
Fun to watch those guys hit
there. I mean, you see some of these PGA Pro guys that are like 190, 195, going to in the 200s now. If you give them a long driver a couple months, they're easily 210 ball speed, can push it a little bit more. And if they optimize their spin and launch, they compete and could cash a few checks for sure. I know a lot of guys that have done that. You see those numbers in the World Championship finals all the time. So, yeah, I mean, it would be cooler to get better sponsors and more money into it. And I mean, a lot of these PGA guys and web.com guys, they love when we hit. They love having us out. They love kind of trying to compete with us when we're playing golf with them and everything else. So it's I mean, it would be cool to see it kind of evolve into that, have both compete a little bit and get more of a tournament atmosphere like that. For
I was
sure,
going to say, it would beg the question. I would love to see like how you kind of see in an NBA All-Star. You see like the guys from maybe the long drive tour join, versus the guys on the PGA tour, and just kind of have like an All-Star event, bring it in your neck of woods, and then bring you guys. Yeah, and then bring you guys on their neck of the woods, and just kind of mesh the two. I think that would be such an it'd be great for TV. I can guarantee you that.
I could see DeChambeau trying to get a world long drive soon, trying to flip him back and forth.
Dude, but he can do it.
Yeah.
He's fast. I mean, I'll give it to him. Guys swinging it hard. Like, you can't say he's not.
No, and he's so analytical with the swing, too, that he can – I think, like you're saying, I think he can really optimize his ability to, if he wanted to transition his game into the long drive game, for sure.
Yeah, no, he could do it. He could do it.
Yeah, if there was one guy,
there's a lot of guys.
Break it down and
Finau did it before. Finau was doing it before he started, and his cousin actually is. He's a top. His cousin Ben Tuani. He's Tuani, however you pronounce his last name. Sorry, Ben. But he's been like a top 20 guy. Finished top 16 at Worlds a lot. I mean, they're really good. I mean, close friends, obviously, first cousins and everything. But Finau was doing long drive before he got in the big break, went to a few qualifiers. He could easily have done it. I mean, there's a lot of guys.
Look at how tall and lanky and just built Tony Finau is. He's made for it. He's huge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's like, so 6'4". Like, I mean, he's another Kyle Berkshire, basically.
Yeah, and he's got skis for feet. So what a base. I think he wears like size like 16s or 17s or something like that.
Yeah.
Just
crazy.
a big human.
Yeah, speaking of Kyle, but that like I like to say I'm probably like one of the most accurate on the world long drive, just because I've been able to optimize a lot with the golf, and that, and I have to be able to, I have to hit it straight because I'm not the fastest to optimize my distance. But I could sit there and watch that little kid hit golf balls, Kyle Berkshire. He's more accurate than I am with the long drive. It's crazy. It's insane.
Well,
It's
and let's get
nuts.
into that, because like I want to talk fitness
Nuts.
and kind of just optimization, like you said there.
Kid
Like,
doesn't even work out.
well, I'm
Not
talking
fair.
about you. I mean, I don't want to throw too many shots, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it. Yeah, I work out hard. It's not even.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about optimization. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? And like, what are you doing to truly optimize every last ounce of energy that goes into your swing?
Yeah, so I'm like 6 foot. I would give or take right there, 6 foot. $180. I competed like a $175 last year, so the smallest, but I don't know, 20 pounds. And then I think this year I was going to probably compete around the 190 range. I'm probably sitting 185 now. But for me, I don't know. I've been pretty strong. Always been able to jump pretty high. I had good fast twitch muscles. But recently got with a new trainer. She's super smart. Really, into the biomechanics of the body and how it moves, old school training, Olympic style. So we've gone as far as West Side, barbell method basically for a little while to, just all med ball sprinting kind of style, and still, a whole bunch of hang cleans and then that kind of adding just basic old school presses to it. So, I mean, we've experimented in the last probably 8 months. We've had probably 12 or 13 different workouts, but it's just kind of seeing how we can, get the hips firing, getting the, our CNS system, firing at the right time, and have it, acting when we need to act, and being able to train heavy when we need. And we've done a lot of experimentation with it because we're trying to find more speed, and we're trying to find, how I can get my body to move the fastest, right? I've worked with a lot of coaches, a lot of people, and I don't know if it's people being egocentric or just because they've had a lot of success, but I've seen a very one-minded system, and I think if for more athletes have success, I think it's better to coaches to kind of be able to see the broader end of it sometimes, and see that their system might not work. And I think the best coaches are the ones that are good with the biomechanics of the body. So that's what we're studying now mostly is, let's look at my swings the last few years, and when was I fast? When was I slow, and what workouts we were doing, and let's really optimize it, because that's kind of what Kyle did in his own reps. He just hit thousands and thousands of golf balls, but I don't do that. I train in the gym a lot and then hit golf balls. So it's like, all right, well, let's take that same theory, but now let's add it to the gym and add it to the course, and really, do a little bit of a study on it and kind of see what's happening. So that's where I'm at now with that. And it's definitely gone more back to the old school ways of training. Let's deadlift heavy, squat heavy, whether it's, sitting there and, changing how, whether the reps are, very slow and controlled, or whether they're explosive and fast, right? We're able to train the body and get it moving faster, just get it stronger, but still use a lot of these old mechanisms that you've seen were in pump and iron with Arnold and, Lou Ferrigno, ones that, made people strong and fast, right? You get strong and fast in the gym, and if you want to get good in your sport, you train on the course. So we've kind of taken that philosophy to it.
I think it's so crazy that no matter what people try to do to like reinvent the wheel, it always goes back, and especially within the fitness industry, it just always goes back to squats, deadlifts, cleans, like a very core centric kind of bunch of just, simplistic yet effective workouts. And I think it's cool because it's like you said, people were exploring new ways to look at it. And obviously, don't get me wrong, people are trying to, kind of break through it and try new things and try new workouts in ways that people may have not done it before because, hey, maybe it will work. But it's like you said, the tried and true methods seem to always just prove stronger than the rest of the ways to get things done.
Right. And getting back to the body, like the people that work great with the biomechanics of the body, like the first thing when I was working with Jackie, what she noticed was she was like, well, why is your right ankle? Like, why is your foot rolling? Well, let's look at the dorsiflexion of your ankle. So the first thing she looked at was, one of my ankles, and like, that's obviously where the swing starts. So if your body, if your ankles aren't strong enough and aren't flexible enough in certain positions, you're obviously not going to be able to swing a way some guy wants you to, right? So I'm a big believer in finding someone you can work with that can see how, your body is and how your body needs to be, right? And that doesn't, that's a whole nother thing, outside the gym that can be done in the gym, right? Whether it's Pilates, yoga, or kinetic stretching, and all these things kind of combined in one. But I see a huge importance in let's get the ankles mobile, let's get the ankles, especially the ankles strong. That's like a huge importance of because that's what's important in the golf swing is the feet. Obviously the old school teachers, all they teach is the feet movement. Well, now we're teaching corkscrew this, corkscrew that. Well, it's all about the feet, right? So if your ankles are weak and if you're if you don't, and that's another we've become all these shoes that we wear now take the arch out of our foot. So now we have to start recreating the arch again. So a lot of the things we do in the gym and stretching are let's get that ankle over our whole foot, right? Let's make sure our ankle's over the foot. Let's recreate that arch. So now when we're turning, we're able to actually turn and feel like we can jump, right? Our ankles aren't bent in. See a lot of people with their legs bent in or bent out and bowed out. Well, if your legs can be bowed out, but where's your ankles then, right? You can still bow them out, but make sure your ankles are over your foot so you have full control of your body. So I think a lot of people are teaching the swing and not looking at the simplicity of how someone's body is actually reacting or moving. So, I mean, we've looked a lot into that and I think that's the biggest thing I've seen in the efficiency of my swing, especially on, golf course or power or straight, hitting a straight or long drive, all of them, is being able to, we did probably a month and it was the hardest time ever in the gym. It wasn't I was doing anything difficult, but I was so weak in some areas of my ankles and hips again. And it was crazy how difficult some of these exercises were. And there was still basic, some deadlifts or, sumo lateral lunges, very simple stuff, but it was putting such a stress on things that I needed to have a stress on where I was weak. And, now I'm strong and I'm getting stronger in them again, where now my whole body's getting stronger, where I can squat more weight and it's getting easier and everything. So it's interesting.
I think we've talked about it before too on many different podcasts, just the importance of, I think it goes back to, for the everyday golfer out there, finding someone who can kind of properly assess them in like a TPI format, whether it's, that way, or like you said, any kind of bio, mechanics of just getting to understand the top to bottom. And most importantly, your base, because that's where it all starts.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, no teacher is going to get you in the right spot that your body just can't get to. So I think it's awesome. And especially on your guys' side of things, it's probably crucial because you're trying to get every last yard out of any kind of movement that you make.
Yeah, for sure. Whether, you see it in Steenberg, he kind of coils down or Kyle kind of lifts up. Like everyone, we all find our power mechanism differently. So it's interesting to find out, what's working for them and what works for you, for sure. It's cool because everyone, we're all in certain positions at some point, but we get there differently.
Yeah, you see it on long drive just as much as you see it on the tour. It's the true definition of swing your swing. There's so many different ways of getting the ball to go as far as, you guys get it to go out there. It's awesome to watch, really.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame that we have a lot of OB rounds on TV. And I think it's because, when we're not on TV, we're hitting, four at a time, or three at a time, all against each other. So then none of us are going OB. You can go look at the stats. Like we'll have like one or two guys. We get the round of 32, the top 30, 40 guys in the world. Like none of us are going OB. But when you get to TV and it's only 8 balls and you're sitting there and you have to hit a big number or you don't, you're just trying to get one. It's just a totally different mindset. So, we are going to now kind of change the format this year. So hopefully kind of eliminate that. But just, I was talking about that accuracy, but any of these guys, the top 30 in the world, you can sit on a range and they don't miss, man. Everyone hits at the center of the club face. I mean, you see it on TV where it's like, oh, these guys aren't accurate. Yeah, they're a little wayward in that moment. But if you gave them a bucket of balls in the range, and most of them are going to pretty much hit their spots, especially at that level. And no matter what sport you're in, an elite level like that, people are good.
You just said something there. What's your smash factor looking like? Because you said most guys are hitting the center of the club. What's your smash factor looking like?
I mean, I mean, we're all 147 to 151. Every one of us. I mean, all of us are. Yeah, even the fastest guys. They might not be at consistently, but they'll get there.
Those,
They're getting there.
Those driver heads last long?
No.
Yeah.
The cranks last pretty well. Callaways,
Yeah.
they're done. Like they're like one around, and it's like, all right, see ya. Where's the next one?
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. I remember.
They want to be fast.
Something on Berkshire. I think it was kind of end of last year. They were talking about how many heads he went through in a season, and it was up in like I think the mid 100s, close to 2. I think in a whole season.
Yeah,
and that's just incredible.
Yeah, that's about right.
It
blows
crazy, my mind
right?
that it blows my mind that okay, let's build them maybe a little differently than the off the shelf models to make them maybe last a little longer for you guys out there, but.
Yeah, but we want it to be fast and optimized. So you kind of, it's like, well, yeah, you take your medicine, I guess.
For sure.
Let's see what happens. And the balls are hitting a rock hard, so it doesn't help. It's like hitting a 2-piece range ball, which they'll crack normal people's drivers when you're sitting on the range and you're using those range balls at your local, course, muni, country club, wherever you're at. Like you have those hard range balls, they're cracking your normal driver, right? Well, that's what we're hitting on the tee box. So good luck.
No offense to Volvic, but I always am amazed at how people hit those golf balls. And maybe your in tournament rounds are different than the ones you get on.
Worst.
Are they different than the ones we get off the shelf though?
Yeah, they're different because they're like a 3-piece ball. They're a little harder. They're super, high compression. Yeah. So, but we're gonna hit Top Flight this year, so we're no longer with Volvic because they didn't pay anyone. Shout out Volvic. So they didn't pay anyone and kind of dropped all those sponsors, and so Dick's was a sponsor. So now Top Flight was a ball. We were actually selling them in Dick's store, so you could go buy them in retail, which was kind of cool. But
that's pretty neat.
That's neat. Yeah. That's real neat.
Yeah. But the Volvic ball, I'll give it to them. They're the fastest ball out there by 6 miles an hour. All those 230, 232 ball speeds you're seeing on Instagram, those are done with the Volvic. With the Top Flight, they're maybe 225, 226. Oh, wow. So that was another thing you're going to see this year was the ball we're using was straighter and slower. So it would have brought more people into play. That's pretty cool thinking about those TV rounds, like you were just saying. We might see maybe half, an increase of 150% of guys actually hitting the grid now that the balls they're using are a little bit straighter. Yeah, you'll see that. And then it was going to be a format where I hit and then the next guy hit and then I hit and the next guy hit. We had 30-second intervals. So that would have been I think that would have been a huge advantage for me because it's very golf bike. You just can't go up and whack a ball. You have to kind of sit there and you get one shot at it, right? So you just couldn't get in a rhythm that was a kind of something I fell into a habit of when I first got into long drive and still kind of do was it's felt like a rain session. I was just up there whacking golf balls. I knew I wasn't going to miss, right? I was let's just swing as hard as I can, but could I attack better lines and, hit some better ball flights rather than just whacking it like a rain? Yeah, for sure. So I saw some of the guys that had a lot of success. They kind of treated it like that. It was every kind of shot was a golf hole rather than just hey, let me just go hit 8 golf balls. I would be done in 2 minutes. We had 3-minute time limits. I'll be done with a minute left. Whoops. 8 balls. See ya.
It's like that. It's like that age old.
That was being as slow as I could, going as slow as I could.
Taking your routine, doing everything. Yeah. It's funny. It's people. It's that age old saying don't just go to the range to smack golf balls. Actually focus.
I love that though. I love that.
And it's that is a great feeling. But when you're competing, you probably want to focus a little more and treat it like that first tee shot down number 1 fairway.
Oh yeah, for sure. No doubt. Yeah, because some of the grids, are hot in some areas, and you have to know where to hit it, whether it's a carry or not a carry. But yeah, that's definitely if you want the most successes, you got to have that kind of mentality with it for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to hopefully see some long drive here in the near future. I don't know when it'll be.
Hopefully some independent events pop up and maybe Vice TV will grab us or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
give us Fox. I don't know. Someone that needs viewership.
It's like Dante and I were saying, why, and now it's a little different for you guys, and maybe not. Maybe it's even easier, but why aren't we having in the game of golf right now. You're seeing all these other sports. You saw NASCAR go to e-racing. You saw, basketball take up 2K events. Why aren't we seeing, because all these guys are near or at least close to somewhere where they can get on a TrackMan or like some sort of online event system that, like, we should be seeing internet golf right now. We should be seeing long drive competitions, and these guys compete each and every week.
I got the answer for all right, I got the answer. So long drive, we can't, because only, I don't know, 4 out of the top 30 guys in the world have TrackMans. None of us make money, so we can't. That's that answer. I wish TrackMan, come give us all one. That'd be great. And then I feel like the pro golfers, they're all at exquisite country clubs and these private places, all flying their private jets to where they want to play and playing their money games. So why would they want to? I mean, unless they're going to get paid a ton of money by TrackMan doesn't pay anyone. So unless they get by like About Golf, or they're not like, what's the reason? There's no. I mean, they could. I mean, but my boy Kent Bazemore, he played on About Golf with Steph Curry like 2 weeks ago. I mean, he beat him too. I mean, Curry played an 11 event. Let's get Baze in the event. Let's go.
Let's do it. And that would be cool, man. And I think, it's just what the people want, and it's what the people need. It's just like some sort of, whether it's a couple pro golfers versus, like you just said, like the Steph Currys, I know Tony Romo, like just like the big, celebrity names that are in, some Korn Ferry Tour events already. Get them out there and get them online just for fun. I don't know. I need some sort of live stream golf in my life right now.
I mean, I know a lot of the stuff's about money and all, but I think it just kind of, at this point, it comes down to, a lot of people are just, they're getting bored of their board routine. They need something a little bit different. So it's another way to get, I guess, pros and, non-pros and just random viewers. Because, I mean, let's face it, everybody's on the internet right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
you better be posted.
You'll get the viewership. So it's a great opportunity just to get people maybe away from reality and kind of because people love sports and everybody wants to gravitate sports. So, I mean, you can only watch so many previous rounds and previous sporting events that have already happened. You already know the outcome. So half the times you just kind of zone out. And like, I know I have.
And we have a whole like another 6 weeks of this.
I know.
Come on, guys. Let's do something.
So I mean, if some people,
this is a call to arms. Come on, boys.
Yeah, let's put like the dollar signs away and just let's just give some viewership out there just to get something out there. I mean, it'd be really cool to see. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think there would be a lot more traction and a lot more hype than maybe some people are hesitant about. So it'd be really neat. I would like to see it. I would tune in for sure.
Yeah, I know. I would. Everyone would. For sure.
Yeah. Because what else you got to do? You got nothing else going on. Come on now.
Yeah. You can only watch Tiger King and Ozark so many times.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's be honest. You do have some other things going on. You're allowed to play golf down in North Carolina area.
Shout out North Carolina.
Seriously, a little jealous. Okay, a lot of jealous.
I'm probably about to make the move like tomorrow. Just gonna.
But take us through where you're playing. Where are you smacking the sticks around these days?
Yeah, so mostly, I'm in Pinehurst now, so I'll play at Dormy Club a lot. Kind of just partnered up with Dormy Network, which is a pretty cool little network that really is all about the experience, which I love. Whether especially in life and golf, it's all about the lodging and the food and making sure you're taken care of, and also making sure no one's on the course kind of except you. So it's shout out to, Dormy Network. They're doing really, cool and big things in that way of trying to change the game a little bit and making it more about, the stay and play, a little exclusivity to it. And let's make sure that, it's cool. It's an experience, something you're going to remember. It's not just about, we all want to remember golf and we all want to make an experience, but they're making sure it's an experience. So they got a club in Pinehurst, Dormy Club, and play out there a lot. A lot of the boys, Tony Chapman, big good friend. I've known him since I actually arrived here in Pinehurst in like 2016. He was working at Pinehurst, but he's the GM over there, and so I'll play with him a lot. And then kind of also Pine Needles, Mid Pines, a huge fan out there, dude. Love those courses as well. They've been a huge supporter of kind of what I've done throughout the time I've gotten to Pinehurst. So play out there, and obviously got every influencer in the world's playing in Pinehurst right now, and all the Pinehurst courses.
It is
California,
ridiculous.
1 through 9.
Every golf video I feel like I'm seeing is just
Yeah.
on Pinehurst. I'm like, did I miss
Yeah.
did I miss the move? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's pretty
So,
sweet.
yeah. How are they getting all these Airbnbs and lodging? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Man, I thought you weren't supposed to be renting anything right now. What's
I'm
going on?
a little confused. I mean, I think Matt
I
Cardis.
know they don't own property here.
Yeah, I think Matt Cardis might be the only guy that like has it done right because he's in his own van. You know, he's doing it right, but the other guys, I'm like, I don't know about you.
Yeah. The rig's been here for 5 weeks.
Yeah, I know. That's insane.
From the epicenter in New York. Riggs, I ain't calling you out, but I'm calling you out.
No, I'm calling him out because I've called him out like a couple times, and then he finally responded and was like, "Are you on tour?" I'm like, "Well, I'm on a tour." You know, like World Long Drive to him, you know, mother effer, like just giving him, you know, and then he didn't respond. I'm like, "All right, well, I'll play you like a stroke a hole. You ain't any good. Like, play. Like, I'll play you on 2. I played that course, you know, 400 times." And then he didn't respond. I'm like, all right, like, come on, man. You can't ask me if I'm on tour and then be nothing about it. Like, I know you don't want to get embarrassed because I think I was like, what did I say to him? So, yeah, you don't have to worry about social distancing with me when I'm blowing 100 by you.
Ooh.
Shout out, Riggs.
That's
Shout out.
great. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta love it. But it's
I'll play him. I'll play him. I shoot 86. He shoots 82. I'm get embarrassed, but it's great. It'll be awesome.
It makes for good TV.
Yeah, say I'll stream it.
Hell yeah.
So like, is Pinehurst like running like what are their like operations? Because I know some courses are, you know, like they're limiting carts or they're, you know, walking only or they're group. Even if you can golf in certain states and certain areas, like are they doing anything different or is it just the standard norm?
Yes, obviously you got some stuff in your cups. Some of them are doing like, you know, member only carts, and if you're a guest you're walking, but for the most part, you know, or one person's taking a cart, but other than that it's normal. You know, obviously you gotta, let's try to stay 6 feet away, and you know, don't come out if you're sick, and let's have some common sense about it, and you know, let's try to be safe. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty. It's not the Northeast. I you know, and the few people that I've talked to from the Northeast that have come down here and kind of got away, we're like, you know, up there, I mean, it's crazy. It's living like in a different world. They come down here, you know, everything's normal. So you know, it's a nice. It's definitely still a weird world we're living in, but it's lucky to have kind of an area that's been safe and staying at home for the most part, or staying safe outside. And luckily, we have a lot of golf courses that are, you know, 7,500 yards with huge greens, so we're okay.
Yeah, man. Kudos to those who can actually still play. So if you can, go out and play.
That's what I've said too. And man, we've made plenty of our arguments up here in the Northeast, like you just said, 7,500 yards, if not, you know, a little less than that. But we, you know, so much room to roam, and it seems like we're getting shut out of the picture. But you know, recreational fishing in Pennsylvania and stuff like that has been allowed. It's like some of these things are a little mind blowing of what is and isn't allowed, but you know, conversation for another day.
Yeah, craziness, right? It's like, what are you gonna do,
man?
Pray,
but
pray for golf.
going back to like playing. I mean, like you're saying that this is a question that just kind of popped up in my mind. You know, when you go out and you're playing with like long drive, obviously you're using like 3 to 4 degree driver heads that are like 48 inches long, and you know, you're using rock hard solid balls. So like, what's it like going back to maybe like a 45-inch driver? You know, I don't know what loft you play, but and then maybe using like a Pro View 1, like how much, like what's that transition like when playing?
It's totally, I mean, the swing's a little different, I would say, for sure. I don't know, I'm just going from 145 miles an hour to about 130, 135 miles an hour.
Okay.
But that's where I've been able to, you know, I've done it where so long, and I've done them both at the same time, where I've been able to, you know, control my attack angle. So really just like going down to a 45-inch club, my attack angle drops, you know, 3-4 degrees, and my swing speed, I know how to feel it with my body. So I actually, the driver, if you give me a long drive club and I practice with it for
I don't know, like have a session and actually like launch some and then go out and play golf, I'm smoking my driver. Don't miss a fairway with it.
Yeah, I'm about to
actually.
say it probably feels like a pitching wedge in your hand. Eh?
Yeah, but if you give me like my pitching wedge in, I'm hitting it like 60 yards right, or like I'm shanking it. Like irons are out there. The
Really?
irons are the hardest thing to kind of gauge back for sure. Because I mean, for me swinging irons, I'm hitting them 50%. You know, I hit my 7-iron stock 188, 192 yards. You know, I mean that I just hit a 50% shot, and you know, controlled my spin, and you know, I've controlled my launch, and you know, when I'm swinging long drive though, I'll get my 7-iron out and forget I'm swinging for speed, and all of a sudden now I'm, you know, swinging my 7-iron 15 miles an hour faster than I was, and I hit it 228 yards, like in the water, like almost over the water, like over an island green. I'm like, well, that's not what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I guess the hardest part is really dialing back the percentages of the actual swing.
Yeah, a lot. Shout out TrackMan. I've hit a lot of balls, hit a lot of golf balls in TrackMan, and then shout out every range that's let me hit, I don't know, like 1,000 golf balls a day. I've hit a lot of golf balls for sure, and you know, a lot of irons, and yeah, definitely. Because yeah, I was playing, you know, golf, and was like, all right, I'm hitting it too far. I got to figure out how to hit it less. So it took like basically a year and a half to figure out how to like take out the whole body and swing arms, you know, and change my whole swing. And it wasn't great, but you know, I found ways to hit it shorter. So then I got in a long drive and had to hit it longer again. So now, you know, I've been able to do both, and yeah, it's interesting for
Which
sure.
that first problem you had is a problem hardly anyone ever has. How do I hit it shorter? Like
I hit it
the
too far.
masses
Damn
are
it.
just so interested and so gung-ho on hitting it farther, and you had the opposite issue, especially when you were trying to play competitively on, you know, amateur events and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think if I were to go back and do it again, I would want to hit it farther. But I think I wanted to hit it shorter then, because I'm still using hand-me-down clubs. Like, dude, I don't really have any sponsors. Like, shout out, give me a club company. Come on, someone. But you know, I'm still using hand-me-downs from a long driver that was signed with Callaway. So I think a lot of it was like I was swinging to the equipment I had. And I think now recently I've, you know, been able to get better equipment that fits me and my swing, and, you know, everything I'm kind of doing with my body in my swing in general. So that luxury has fine-tuned a lot of strokes off also, and let me now go after it and, you know, swing harder and you know, swing my irons like I want. But a lot in the beginning, I was swinging a lot to the equipment, which is like a whole nother topic I'm sure you guys talk about a lot with, you know, the fitting and everything. You know, definitely whether it's just certain club heads and shafts, and some people work, some people it doesn't. But you know, that's let me being able to swing hard at it and have a lot of control. And I wish I would have done that in the beginning, because I think, you know, that would have been the right thing to kind of, you know, do and let me still swing hard at it rather than just drop everything and be like, all right, let me drop 20 miles an hour off my swing so I can, you know, hit some golf shots.
Yeah, man, we've probably actually over talked about it on this podcast, but to no shame, we talk about the importance of fitting so much, because it just matters. Like, it just, no matter where you're at, whether it's in the long drive or just in your everyday player, you know, game, it matters to have the right irons, the right shafts, the right driver heads. Like, just everything matters if you're trying to get better. If you're just out there not really caring, it is what it is. But if you're trying to improve in any way, shape, or form, that's the number one thing you should do, is go get fit.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, we've like I said, we've over talked it on this podcast probably, and
I'm a big gear junkie anyway, so
me as well. Luckily my buddy at True Spec, Ryan Cole, I played college baseball with him and somehow rekindled, because he was working at Pine Needles. I got a shop there and he was running it. Next thing you know, I'm like, yo, Ryan? He's like, Jacob? I'm like, dude. This was like right when I got in a long drive. So we've been working together for like 2 years, but he's a genius with shafts and just transformed like the long drive and golf game. So it's crazy what can be done. He's blown my mind with it.
I love to hear that. That's it's something that I feel like you hear every time someone goes and gets fit properly. They're just mind blown by the results and how it feels afterwards. You know, you get a right club in someone's hands, and it's just night and day.
Yeah. So you said you're up in Atlantic City, right?
Hey,
near it?
Yeah, near it.
Yeah, we got it's a Dormy Network. They have a club up there, Hidden Creek. Do you know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one?
I was looking at the website. Actually, that's probably maybe about 45 minutes from my
Yeah,
house.
we'll have
Yeah.
to do a little enjoy the walk out there.
Oh, I'm that my
We're
friend
in.
my yeah, right. My friend actually, I guess his boss is a member at like two clubs, and Hidden Creek was one of them, and he played it actually last year, and he said he loved it, and I was like, damn. So yeah, I saw that when I was looking through the website, and I saw he was like, and even Dalton said, he goes, yeah, there's like a course near you
I
that's
saw the Philly one
that's part
too,
of it.
right?
Yeah,
Is that the one?
that's
Like outside of
probably
Philly? You said Hidden Creek?
They have one
no.
in Roanoke, Virginia, Ballyhack, which
Hmm.
is like unreal. And then they have one in Nebraska, Arbor Links, and then is it Indiana or Illinois, like right on the border, which is Victoria National, which holds the tour final for the Corn Ferry,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then Briggs Ranch in Texas. But they're all sweet.
So I guess like you're a member of this network, and you're affiliated to all these clubs, right?
Yeah, you have like a national membership. Yeah, it's super sick, man. You can basically there's like super affordable. They got good rates going on right now. So
I think that's like
definitely if interested. It's definitely worth looking into. I did it recently, and it's worth it. They take good care of you and make sure everyone feels special. So it's a pretty cool spot.
that's awesome. That's like the way to do it. It's almost kind of a equivalent to like remote working in. Like you don't have to be in the area. You can belong to the network, and then if you so happen to be, travel through that area, and you're like, oh, this course is in this area that's affiliated with my network. I'm gonna go play it for like the weekend or something. If you're like at a different I don't know, say you're you're in Atlantic City doing a world long drive thing, and you're like, I want to go play golf. Hidden Creek's right around the corner. Call them up, get a tee time, and then you're good to go. You have a place to play. You don't have to really worry about spending extra money when you're already you're a part of a network already that you're paying for. So you're like, all right, I'm actually getting my money's worth out of this. That's pretty dope.
And they have a lot of like most of their spot. I mean, 5 out of 6 of them right now have like good lodging there, and so I mean, they're great stay in place. So I mean, that was kind of the reason I did it, because a lot of the spots where I do charity corporate events, we're close to it, or where we have long drive or tournaments. It kind of was like, dude, this is great, super affordable, even for like a mini tour guy like me. I was like, dude, I can afford this. It was awesome. So.
That's awesome.
It's
I know
sick.
we saw them pop up on the map, and they had interacted with us, and when they ran us through, just like you said, the hospitality that they offer, even just off the golf course, let alone the awesome golf that they have. And I know they said they're probably going to expand in the future as well. It's really cool to see things like this popping up and becoming more mainstream, because I think it's such a valuable asset to have so many different courses across the country that you can just go and play as a member of one course. We see it down here a little bit, like on the shore. Dante sees it in his area where he's got like the Ron Jaworski courses, and he can go play any of them. And like I belong at a course down here in Ocean City, Glen Riddle, and there's like 5 courses involved in where I play golf, and like I can go play any of them. But like to see it on a national level like this is really cool, and I hope that's the direction of a lot more golf courses in the future. To not just be locked into your kind of local regional area to go play a golf that you're a member at.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen it with businesses. A lot of the business that's happening in this day and age is very kind of like, we're on the road, or everyone's doing it kind of, whether it's from home or remotely or whatever they might be. But a lot more people are on the road and traveling more and able to take their business on the road. So it's cool to see, a company like this, and everyone's involved. They're so awesome, man. It's been such an easy experience kind of to start, but. Yeah, it's cool to see a national network kind of get started and make sure that, they're like, hey, we're going to take care of you. We're going to, whether it's picking you up from the airport or, driving here, when you get here, throw your bags in a cart and take the cart for, the whole time you're here. Don't worry about anything else. Just tell us what you need. I'm like, all right, I like that.
Yeah,
I can do that. I'll pay my dues.
There's so much of that I think is coming back around, of just like treating people right, and actually even not even just right, but like going above and beyond. what, has been done in the past, and kind of just making sure the customer feels 100% appreciated. We talked to Matt Janella a couple episodes ago, and we both kind of agreed, like, golf's one of those sports where a lot of times, especially on some resort courses, they're pumping you through. They're yelling at you if you're here. They're yelling at you if you're there. And, you feel rushed. You don't feel like, didn't I just pay you to play golf? Like, why am I getting, kind of pumped through here? And it's like places like Dormy Network and Dormy Club and, all the courses that they own, that they start making you feel like you're at home and that you belong. And, when you find that in a golf course, that's what just makes golf so much fun to play every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's cool. If you look at all the Google Maps of their courses, it's just like all these courses in the middle of nowhere with no houses around them. Basically, it's like, dude, that's how golf is, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Hidden Creek, the name speaks for itself.
Yeah,
it is hidden.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sick.
Well, I'd love to hear about it, and hopefully we can hook up here in the next couple months and get out to Hidden Creek and join you for a round and do a little collab there.
Yeah. At least if not, we'll do a few. We'll go to all of them. Might as well. I got nothing else to do. Yeah. All I got to do is to play golf, because we don't have I'll play some. Hey, it's golf season now. I get to play a lot of mini tour events and some Mondays and whatnot. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, if this thing runs on for longer than we have planned, we might just have to do a Dormy road trip and just hit them all in one swoop.
Yeah, it's essential work.
I love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, man, before we let you go, I know we wanted to touch on something you're pretty good ambassador for, and that's kind of just the CBD or hemp product side of the market. And I think we talked about to you in person when we were down at the PGA show, just kind of your thoughts and everything that surrounds kind of the golf industry when it comes to CBD. And I'd love to just kind of maybe touch on what are your thoughts just kind of on the side of CBD within the golf industry?
I could go on for this about, I don't know, 7 hours, 8 hours, but we got 12 minutes.
Buckle in, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
We're good. Hey, we're lucky, but we got 12 minutes till Michael Jordan's on TV, and he's more important than anything.
Everybody knows that. So roll.
Yeah. So yeah, the CBD hemp thing, it's been interesting. It shot onto the world, into the market very quickly. And Japan's a huge. It's crazy to see how worldwide it's become, especially whether it's Germany or Japan. I was at MJ BizCon, which it's a huge business convention for basically the PGA show for marijuana out in Vegas. So kind of went out to that with some buddies, and they're heavily involved. Just kind of see. I was like, all right, let's see what's out here. Let's start talking to some of these people. And these people are just buying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tons of just biomass of CBD. All these have been taking it to Japan and turning it into distillate, isolate, whether it's full spectrum or just taking it all, or just whether they're just using full spectrum or taking isolates from all these full spectrum. And it was crazy to see. I thought I knew something about it. I obviously it trimmed a little bit up in the northern hills of California, Murder Mountain. If you ever watched that, that's kind of what I did, and did that for a little bit post college baseball, but was kind of introduced to it then. I thought I knew a little bit, about it, and then got out of it. Obviously, I was like, all right, let's play golf. Was trying to get in the legal side of it. It was really difficult then in 2016, 17. I was like a big believer, but all of a sudden I was like, all right, let's get out of it, and then last year, right here, 2019-20, kind of last year saw some PGA players wearing. I'm like, dude, what's going on, right? Was kind of against it. Was like, what's this? Like, we're taking stuff out of a hemp plant, right? And then kind of started to talk to some people and saw some importance to it, and saw how much of a benefit, the whole cannabis plant is, right? It's like, we have a system in our body, the endocannabinoid system, that we produce a lot of these cannabinoids that we get from the cannabis plant. We kind of produce naturally, right? So it's interesting to see if we're deficient in one, we can take it, right? Whether it's CBG or CBC or CBL, or whether it's THCV, which is basically natural caffeine, right? It's so cool to see how much has been kind of exposed, and I was really introduced to that. You know, went to these conventions, went to the, you know, BizCon, Emerald Cup, and was like, wow, like, dude, this is nuts. Like, let's see kind of like what's going on, and we had a real like introduction to it. And that was, let's see, November, December, because, you know, I was in September, October. I was like, all right, like, you know, I've had enough of it. You know, it's time to let's dig a little deeper, right? Like, I've been involved in cannabis for a long time. I've been a big advocate. All right, now we can like talk about it basically, and there's athletes talking about it, and they're like promoting like this company and this company. Well, it's like, all right, well, 4 of these companies are getting their CBD from the same processor who just filed for a $200 million bankruptcy. Like, get out of here. Like, all right, something's going on. Like, what's going on? So I was like, all right, I got to find some answers. So, you know, started like, went to BizCon, started talking to everyone. And what you kind of see is like, there's ridiculous amounts of money given to just influencers and basically anyone and everyone to promote something. And it's all the same. But yeah, there's benefit to it. But the problem is, like, the way I was started with it, like, I had such a passion for it, you know, and there was such a belief. So I was like, all right, like, what happened to this? Everyone's just really in it to make a buck, right? So, like, everyone I saw was, all right, let's just make a buck. Let's just make a buck. Like, oh, well, I can, like, I'm getting a liter of CBD distillate for, you know, $70 now or $80 now. And it was like, all right, well, like, okay. And everyone I talked to, yeah, it's all non-GMO, it's all organic. So everything in the United States, non-GMO and organic, if you want to ask everyone. So
yeah, you can slap a tag on that really quickly with a couple little loopholes. And it just blows my mind. And I think, you know, where we'll let you kind of go and get out to Michael Jordan's special, you know, it's just like, yeah, you look at kind of, you know, the influencer side of things, and you look at, I mean, Tiger made kind of headlines when like him and Phil were chewing the gum, and like, you know, yeah, from a golf side of things, you know, I think we've barely touched the surface as far as everything that it can really help. I think the player on the course, yeah, and off the course, so many
benefits to it.
You know, what do you think, I guess, is the next step within like kind of the cannabis industry to help the athlete?
Well, we have to re-educate. So number one is we have to re-educate and change the stigma. We have to get away from the CBD, and we have to get away from THC. We have to investigate all these other cannabinoids in the plant. Like, we have to investigate CBG. That's the grandfather plant. Every cannabinoid starts, you know, in basically from CBG. CBG turns into it, you know? So it's like we have to investigate all these cannabinoids that are non-psychoactive, right? That we can isolate. And so we have to investigate that, get more research, you know, re-educate the people on what they're taking, and, you know, if that has to somehow take these marketing companies and somehow persuade them to, you know, market the right things, whatever it takes. But, you know, it's a huge re-education of the whole plant itself, you know, of what it can do, of kind of what each cannabinoid do. And every day there's a new cannabinoid coming out, like THCO, it's 100 times stronger, and, you know, every other witch cannabinoid. So it's interesting to see that, and the re-education's number one. I've been able to talk to a lot of these scientists. They're all from Israel, and it's a worldwide thing, and Israel's number one. They've been able to investigate the heck out of it. But it's crazy. Like, one of my extractors, this is how like weird the industry is. He can take a liter of CBD isolate, which you can get for like $700 now. Basically, it was $1,000 a month ago. Take it for $700, $600, and now we can take that and we can, in a lab, turn it into THC Delta 8, right? So now we can take CBD that we're getting from a hemp plant and turn it into THC Delta 8 and basically falsify it. And so, like, there's a lot of blacklist people doing that. So the industry is so unregulated still, and there's so many issues with it. It's going to take a while, but until that point, all you can do is kind of educate people on what's going on, you know, in between, from the scientists', you know, view. And I think the biggest thing we can do is reach out to the pioneers in the industry, like reach out to the, you know, whether if you think they're marijuana farmers or not, they're the ones that were creating the genetics of the seeds to be able to grow it in a way that there's only 0.03 THC in it.
Yeah, so they brought us this innovation to get us to where we are today. And I think,
the suits fund it, but the farmers, you know, there was a reason why they're farming good product, and they're selling it for large amounts, black market, you know, in the late 90s. And, you know, so yeah, it's just like, let's start reaching out to
pioneers. It's in the golf industry. It's like, you don't go look at the newest Instagram guy and say, oh, I'm taking him as my coach. That's what we're doing with the CB industry. Like, no, we want Butch Harmon, or, we want someone that has a legacy, right? So we should do that same thing kind of in this industry, CBD. Like, let's find people with a legacy, and whether it's, whether they have a product or not, let's try to learn some from them and, and investigate more in it itself, rather than just listening to influencers and the brochures that they're presenting with.
I think that's great. That's great advice. Whether like you said, whether it's your golf game, whether it's CBD, whether it's, anything, let's not take the highlight reel of Instagram and let that influence our decisions on what's truly going to be able to help us long term. So no, man, really enjoyed the conversation today. It was a blast. We touched so many different topics, and whenever you get back on the grid, where can people follow you on Instagram or Twitter? Where can people follow you to kind of follow your journey?
Yeah, it's very easy to remember at Jesus of Golf. So it's spelled pretty simple, Jesus of Golf. So
love it. Absolutely
follow me on that. I keep the social media pretty simple. I don't have Facebook, very inactive on Twitter, and I only use Instagram. So I have a LinkedIn profile, changed my profile picture ever, but I just figured I'll try to keep it to one source and keep it there. I got some cool teaching stuff coming out though, so be on the lookout for that. Going to teach you how to at least hit it longer and straighter. I can do that and get you pretty close to the green. I know some other tour guys that can help out with the rest, but so be on the lookout for that. Yeah, Jesus of Golf, and then hopefully we'll be getting out in the grid soon. If not, we'll get out at one of these Dormy clubs and or Dormy Network spots and at least play a little golf.
Absolutely, man. Yes, sir. We'll see you in one way, shape, or form. Hopefully, sooner rather than later. So great talking, and as always, guys, get out there, carry your clubs, and enjoy the walk.
Yeah, I'll be walking this week. We'll have fun with it. I'll send you guys some pics.
That's beautiful. Guys, that was Jacob Golliday, Jesus of Golf on Instagram. Jake, thanks for the talk, man. Great time.